Hey you. Konbanwa and Leo and also Guten Tag. There's been a lot of commanders jumping into Star Citizen and others just considering jumping into Star Citizen. I myself have dibble-dabbled a bit, and I just want to use the opportunity to take you on a quick trip of what it's been like. So retract your hard points, grab a beverage, and flip off all the power to everything except life support and sensors, and let's take a quick trip to the verse as an Elite Dangerous pilot. Thump that like button and subscribe like a boss. Make sure to hit the notification bell. Back in 2016, I bought the cheapest package that got me access to the online game in Star Citizen, a starter ship, and the Squadron 42 campaign. I tried it out for a while and it ran terribly, and there was almost nothing to do besides fly my ship around, noob it up in combat, and trial and error my way around different points I could jump to. Around that time, I had also bought Elite Dangerous just to have a fully fleshed out game for VR. VR was the only reason I got a gaming PC. So, for the record, these are my first two PC games ever, and they were both difficult to jump into using the keyboard and mouse on two games that have 1 million commands each. Both games looked insanely good, Star Citizen for the graphics and attention to detail, and Elite for the VR experience. At least, that was my attraction to it. Sitting in the Sidewinder cockpit for the first time was incredible. I'll always remember that. But being in school without loads of time to figure out how to master meticulous spaceflight controls with keyboard and mouse, I said forget about it and went back to my good old reliable console and played GTA Online whenever I had some time. That's pretty much all the backstory I got for you, because fast forward a couple years later, after graduating and completely diving into Elite Dangerous, I saw a link to a Star Citizen free fly event where I could fly loads of different ships for free. As an Elite Dangerous commander, it's not something you normally think of as a big deal to fly some ships that you haven't earned yet, but at this funding stage of Star Citizen, it costs a lot of real money to own these ships, so it qualified as something special and worth checking out. Instead of just adding a bunch of ships to your inventory, they made an event out of it. It was to be like an auto show in a city called Lorville on a planet called Hurston that had just opened up for exploration. And lucky for a lot of folk, everybody's been given a Cutlass Black for the event. This is super cool for a couple reasons. One, if you were paying attention, I mentioned that I purchased a starter ship, and by starter ship, I mean a really bare bones ship that I don't think does anything particularly well. In Elite Dangerous, you start off with a Sidewinder that you can upgrade and has enough cargo or cabin room to get you off to a good start on your journey. Plus, it's the most agile ship in the game, so it has a few things going for it. I, Captain Yellow Shirts, bought the Aurora MR, which I gotta admit kind of looks cool from the perspective of it's futuristic, and if this landed on my front yard tomorrow, I'd gently stroke its doors that kind of look like housefly eyes and go to sleep in its cramped sleeper compartment while reading scary stories with a pen light. So it's kind of cool in that regard. Other than that, it's pretty weak in the genes. And there's a pilot named Pat out there who would take offense at that statement. Sorry. Second reason is that the Cutlass Black is a very cool looking craft and a great multi-purpose ship. And after having flown both ships, you get some direction on what features in the ship are of value to you, and you'll be a more informed buyer when it's time to get your shopping spree on. One of the reasons why the free Cutlass was a necessity for the event is everybody's starting out from a starport called Olisar, and even though at this point Star Citizen only contains one star system, Planet Hurston's on the other side of the system, beyond the reach of the Aurora without having to stop to refuel, and with tons of pilots who are either completely new or haven't played in ages, folks would be all kind of lost trying to figure out routing, refueling. Just wouldn't make for a good experience. The Cutlass can make it to Hurston in one jump without stopping, no problem. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're looking at what it's like to be in the verse as an Elite Dangerous commander. Those differences begin when you first log into the game. The first thing you notice when you're coming from Elite to Citizen is that you don't just spawn in the ship, you wake up in a bed. And looking at the mess, you have a sense of continuity of having been there doing stuff. Being detached from your ship right off the bat almost throws off your equilibrium after being nailed down to your cockpit with self-sealing stem bolts for so long. It was a little overwhelming when I first tried it, and I spent too much time just looking at the details in the habitat. seeing other people walking around, looking at little floaty galaxy holograms above me. It's about time to grab a ship. When you start in Elite, this isn't an option. You're just in your ship, and that's that. Unless you've already started building a fleet, then you have the option of scrolling through them all. In the verse, if you want your ship, you walk to the kiosk, request the ship you want, and it'll tell you what pad it's on. What it doesn't tell you is what loadouts are in the ship, hopefully in the future. So you make your way through an airlock to your assigned pad, and surprise, surprise, right in your eyes, there's your ship, without you already in it. You do the obligatory walk around and then get in it. The way entering your ship looks never gets old. So the Aurora is pretty basic, but I'm glad to have had it, and I'm planning on getting another one. It has the basic things you need: a good old bed to log out from. In Star Citizen, you can log out from your bed, and then in your next session, wake up there in the same part of space. The Aurora also has a small amount of space where you can store individual boxes, which will come in handy, and also some cargo space, which we'll see later. But we're leaving in the Cutlass, so let's get back to that. So you take your seat in your cockpit and then wonder why you can't take off. In Elite, your ship is always on and ready to go unless you turn off your individual modules. In Star Citizen, you gotta crank her up. You turn on the engines, you turn on the power, or you hit a key to make her flight ready. And at this point, it's the same, you just take off. Unless you're inside a hangar, then you request egress and they'll open up the doors for you, and then you can take off. So here's where it gets quite a bit different. Elite Dangerous ships yaw and pitch really slow, so to turn around quickly, you need to pitch and roll at the same time, or boost and turn flight assist off, or some other method. The variety of things you can do rather than just turn your ship left, right, or pitch up or down makes for some interesting strategies when two pilots are trying to outmaneuver each other. In Star Citizen, you can yaw, pitch, and roll a lot faster. This doesn't make it a completely foreign experience, but you're aware of it as soon as you move your ship for the first time. I'm making this video right before the public release of the new flight system, but I believe this is still going to hold true. In Elite Dangerous, you have flight assist off, and in Star Citizen, you have decouple mode, and they work the same. In both games, your ship's thrusters, shields, and weapons are governed by the resources produced by the power plant. In Elite, you have a distributor, which, if not upgraded, can be a choke point between your power plant and the modules it's feeding. In Star Citizen, there is no distributor. In both games, you can allocate power to your modules, diverting resources from one to another, such as moving power from weapons to allow your shields to recharge faster. In both games, crew members can manage the power while you fly, but more on that later. So right now, Star Citizen's quantum drive is basically analogous to Elite Dangerous Super Cruise. It's there to travel between bodies in the system. Except in Star Citizen, you have no flight control. In Elite, you pick a destination from your map or your nav panel, charge up your frame shift drive, and go.
Warning. The temperature.
In Star Citizen, you pull up your star map, plot a destination, aim your ship at it so the computer can analyze the jump, spoil your drive, and when that's complete, you initiate your quantum drive and take off. It's more steps than Elite, but you get used to it quick, and I believe that's going to change in the future, so we'll see. Once your quantum drive sends you off, it's a long trip from Olisar to Hurston. Not anywhere near Hutton Orbital long, where they give out free anacondas, but long enough. And like I said, you can't steer, there's no Galnet or Codex playlist to listen to. But what you can do is walk around and enjoy your ship. That's a huge deal for everybody that's been shouting for space legs. The Cutlass Black doesn't have the most beautiful feature-filled interior, but it's still nice to walk around, get in the turret. Open up all the doors, contemplate jumping. Take a quick nap. It's pretty exciting in the Cutlass, and it'll be a lot better in one of the bigger ships that's crewed with people and down the road NPC crew members. But we'll look at those type of ships later. You'll notice that the ships all have a universal interface, but the layout between them is somewhat modular. So depending on the ship, you can set different panels to display different menus and sub-menus and positions that work best for you. I've always wanted different UI layouts in Elite Dangerous, and I've seen a lot of other people say the same thing. I mean, if different ships have different manufacturers, then it only makes sense that they employ different approaches to UI. But the UI works well in both games, and that's what's important. So now we're ready to take off. In the next video, we're off to Hurston to take a look at the difference in planetary landings as an elite commander in Star Citizen, ship scale, and also multi-crew. To the next episode, fly dirty, Commanders. 07.